Okay, so this is for offense, obviously. Before I begin, little thing about defense. So this yellow is a breach stun, this blue is an omen flash. This is a great trap play for fighting mound, right? You have omen stand here, you have breach stand here, you stun and flash. There's only this little sliver that isn't covered. Oh my god. And you can use other stuff. So, breach can flash through this wall to kind of get those people, or we can aftershock there, or we can just swing out and, you have like 90% of this area covered, right? And again, that's for fighting mound, not for this area up here, right? Doesn't get that, obviously. So, anyways, on to offense. I mean, you guys know by now that I just love to run around Lotus and leave lurkers and grab orbs, right? There's 2 orbs to farm on this map, and the C1 is very offensive sided. The A1 is, I would say, probably a little more defensive sided. So we'll probably be farming with this composition. Unknown who the duelist is, right? Could be Neon or Raze or Phoenix. If it's Phoenix, we'll probably be farming the Phoenix ult. If it's Raze, then we kind of decide between Fade and Breach and Raze, and just depending on the situation, right? But anyways, these areas, so mound, I'd say rubble, and sort of this like box right here, because you could say outside tree, whatever. These areas are where I like to leave lurkers, right? I like to leave people C. I like to leave people in this corner right here, outside of rubble and mound. These are really good lurking spots because they give you a lot of information about what the other team is doing, and they give you map control. They give you information about what's going on in this area, right? You can hear rotators from A or C or B, and also taking these areas of map control gives us access to this orb, right? So that's what I like to do. It's especially, this is one of the big reasons I really like Omen as opposed to solo Harbor, is because it gives you another person you can deposit here. When I say deposit, I say this a lot. I just mean I'm like, okay, let's just say Cypher, you are just going to contain, right? So maybe Cypher puts a cam here to watch B in a trip or whatever, and he just kind of chills, maybe outside C, maybe he gets a little aggressive and comes in there and does whatever and just watches. And I'd say all of us, we're going to fight A, and we're going to leave our Omen lurking right here. So then we all fight A. We grab this orb and we leave Omen here. This spot gets worse if this door is broken, because then Omen has to watch 2 areas, right? So then in that case, maybe Omen okay, maybe we just want to play here or Rubble or whatever. But the idea is, so let's say start of the round, like I said, we fight A, we leave Omen here. Then we can come back. We can explore other areas of the map. We can see what's going on. We can get orbs. We can make them, think all the aggression is leaving A. We can have someone, this Omen here, calm what's going on A. So let's just continue with this strategy as if it's going on, right? So we fight A, we leave Omen there, and now we all go C, and we grab this orb. We might even just all come back except for Cypher, right? Maybe we deposit Cypher B, whatever. And let's say we finish A. We fight A and we get the plant down. Okay. This lurker right here that's not with us, you have a lot of interesting things you can do, right? You can obviously rejoin. You can, if your trip gets someone on flank, you can fight flank. You can, if you know there's a flank happening to main, you can refight that flank. But also, when it's planted on A really good thing, and when it's planted on B, honestly, C's a little harder. But if it's planted on A or B, one really good thing you can do is come and, so let's say it's planted on A, okay, you late lurk up here, either through tree door, depending on where our positions are, right, or up heaven, and you have a flank, right? Beautiful, wonderful. Same thing if it's planted on B, except you just late lurk up here and come around a tree door. Or if the time, if you have time, you can do this, but that's a lot more risky because it just takes so much longer. But the tree door flank is a classic, right? Yeah. So for plant spots, I hate it. I hate it when people plant in this pit. I hate the pit plant because your people right here, they have to swing out so much more in order to spam the spike. Let's say this spike is this dot. You gotta swing out so much more, and these people kind of as well, but not as bad, right? I really don't like that unless we have some set strategy, like, let's say it's Fade and Raise Last Alive, or Raise and Omen, or whatever, and Raise is like, okay, I'm planting Pit, so I can stay here and nade through this, window to get the ball, whatever. I feel like a niche thing. I like this plant. It's, I think, safer and better because, they just have a straight line on it, and you're swinging about the same from tree. Yeah. So for planting for C, I really like plants for mound, especially with just like the comp we have with all these initiators and shit that, Breach can aftershock and stun and flash or whatever. Omen can flash. This depends, of course. This depends if they have smokes up. This depends, how much sight control we have, because obviously a mound is a dangerous plant. You can get shot from waterfall, connector. And, I know Joel likes the plant like over here or whatever, like in this corner, so he can do his little box play. But I think planting for mound is awesome. I love it. And then, you can have maybe you still have your Omen up here. Maybe you have someone just taking a super tricky position, just crouching right here. Even if you have planted for mound. If not, C's a good site to fight on, right? There's a lot of angles to hold. As for A I think is the weirdest. I think in the past and currently, as in when I like 5-stack and maybe our last Premier game. So this area, or maybe this area, probably the best plant spot for A, because you have vision from tree, you have vision from main if you plant here. If you plant on this other dot right here, you have vision from tree, obviously, and then you have vision from heaven and drop. But that plant is not very safe. So when we don't have sight, we should not be planting here. If sight isn't clear, I don't really want to try and plant there, unless we've like caught him on a rotate or whatever, But then again, sight would be clear for that. So here, this is a fine plant spot. We can still play from tree. You can still play from main. It's a little harder, but it's so much safer. So if sight isn't clear, we plant that, right? And while the planter's going down, we have this problem where we try and take A and we start planting and then A isn't clear and then someone dies, right? So we can talk about more on how to fix that. But in general, I think we just plant safer. And also we wait a little bit, right? So let's say if we have a lot of people alive, we have our planter, we have someone watching tree, and we have someone on this angle. Hopefully heaven's smoked off. And these people are holding and waiting, right? These people should not be, I don't think these people should be scaling as the plant happens, because unless they're communicating, right? So unless they're saying like, I'm scaling to, I don't know what this area is called, backside, cubby, whatever, and then this person comes too, that's great, that's fine. But in general, what happens is someone starts planting, some people are tree, and then someone's like, okay, they just come up here, and then they get shot and die. And then it's like, wait a minute, and then the planter gets killed. Or we're like planting in a non-safe spot and then we get killed. And also on A, this can be talked about more. I feel like, especially if we have a plant here, if we get that really good plant, I feel like kind of this area of main and tree is more important to control than this area, maybe? I'm not saying this is bad because you can have some good fights here. I just feel like maybe historically we haven't been able to hold this like area of heaven and drop when we play on site. I feel like we get punished a little more, but maybe that just means we have to fix our site holds, right? So we can have times where we plant here and we play for this area, and then we can have times where we plant here and then we're on site more. We have people doing whatever. But yeah, so that's basically how I think about this map offensively. It's a lot of depositing people, coming back to that space. We have 2 initiators, so we can refight a lot of areas very well. So even if we don't deposit people, we can refight this. Especially Rubble. It's a famous area where like this is why initiators are good on Lotus, right? Or I mean, there's many reasons, but to refight Rubble when you want to come back to A and see what's going on. But yeah, I think that's all. I don't know if this was helpful, but it happened. Yeah, we'll talk about it more on game day, but this is a very basic way to think of how I'll be calling and stuff. Um, you know. Also, we have not done a ton of split pushes into B and A, or you know, to B rather in the past. I think on B, if we eco, we go B. Especially the first time we just fucking send it up B. But developing some of these might be nice, or one of these, a B to A split, and obviously it's great to be able to pivot from A to B, especially if we've got someone right here, right? So let's just say normal round, we fight for C and we get that orb, and then we come over here and our Omen has been lurking like Rubble or whatever. We can, deposit Cypher B and then leave and then come A, and then they think it's an A hit, and then we can go this way, and we'll still probably have to clear people, but we'll have one little sneaky guy here, and we'll have people coming flee, or 2 little sneaky guys, whatever, and we'll get on the site. All right, I think that's it.